If you're on the hunt for budget-friendly earphones that promise high-fidelity sound, you've probably stumbled upon the KZ ZS10 Pro. But here's what surprised me. Despite its hybrid 4-balanced armature plus 1 dynamic driver setup, it's not all sunshine and rainbows with these earphones. Today, I'm diving into the KZ ZS10 Pro and uncovering why it might not be the best choice for your audio needs, even though it looks like a steal at just $47.49 on Amazon. So stick around because I'm about to break down the problems you won't hear in most reviews and why you might want to think twice before hitting that buy button. Let's start with who should even consider the KZ ZS10 Pro. If you're a casual listener looking for a flashy set of earphones that give you more bang for your buck, this might seem like a good pick, especially with a 4.4-star rating and promises of extended highs beyond 40 kHz, upgraded Tesla double magnetic dynamic units, and a blend of stainless steel and imported resin materials that makes it look premium. But if you're an audiophile or someone who values true sound precision, comfort during long listening sessions, and durable build quality, this is where the story gets interesting, because the ZS10 Pro has some notable flaws. First off, the sound signature is indeed bright and dynamic thanks to the two 30,095 drivers handling the highs and two 50,060 drivers for the mids, combined with the dynamic driver catering to the lows. This hybrid driver design is supposed to give you crystal clear highs, mids that don't get lost in the mix, and punchy bass. Problem is, the bass, while present, feels muddy and lacks the depth and punch you'd expect from a double magnetic dynamic driver. Imagine ordering a steak but getting a tofu burger instead. It looks the part but falls flat when you taste it. The highs do extend impressively, but sometimes they become too shrill and piercing, causing listener fatigue during longer sessions. Secondly, the cable situation is a bit of a mess. From September 2021, buyers are sent one of 4 different cables at random, all supposed to offer the same performance, but they look different. This inconsistency is frustrating, especially because the durability of these cables is questionable. Yes, the gold-plated ODC cable is detachable and designed to prevent pin damage, but numerous users report tangling issues and microphonics that get annoying during daily use. So, while KZ suggests trying out the TriPoint cable for better sound improvements, that means an additional cost on top of your purchase. Probably not what you signed up for if you want a ready-to-use quality product. Now let's talk build quality. The stainless steel faceplate combined with a resin cavity sounds fancy, and visually the ZS10 Pro does look sleek and somewhat elegant. They nail the aesthetics, no doubt. However, when it comes to ergonomics and comfort, the story takes a turn. The earphone shape is molded based on general cochlea data for a supposedly snug fit, but multiple users complain about painful pressure points after just an hour of wear. For anyone who likes binge listening to podcasts, music, or gaming sessions, this is a deal breaker. And if you think vigorous exercise will help it fit better, well, sweat and movement tend to make these earphones slip out despite marketing claims of secure fit. It's almost like they were designed by a committee who has never worn them while jogging. On the noise isolation front, the ZS10 Pro claims to block out up to 26 dB of ambient noise. That's decent on paper, enough to drown out most chatter in coffee shops or busy streets. But the actual performance is underwhelming. The seal depends heavily on tip choice, and the default tips often don't create a perfect seal, allowing background noise to leak in. If you commute daily or work in noisy environments, you'll likely find these earphones lacking in passive noise cancellation compared to competitors in the same price range. Here comes the interesting twist. The KZ ZS10 Pro's biggest selling point, its multiple balanced armatures, also contribute to its main problem. The complexity of managing 5 drivers per side requires super precise tuning and quality crossover components. Although the ZS10 Pro includes a PCB dividing board to balance the drivers, many users report imbalanced sound staging. The mids sometimes overpower, or highs become harsh and thin depending on the track, while bass becomes inconsistent. This lack of sound cohesion leads to a disjointed listening experience, kind of like a choir where everyone sings their own tune without a conductor. So, if you want layered, immersive sound with clear instrument separation, you might be disappointed. Let's sprinkle in some storytelling here. I was really excited to try the ZS10 Pro because previous KZ models like the ZS10 had gained cult-like followings for their price-to-performance ratio. Unboxing the Pro was like opening a treasure chest, premium looking with a hefty feel. But as soon as I started testing, the experience went from treasure to trick. I cranked up some jazz and electronic tracks, expecting crisp highs and warm mids. Instead, the highs were so bright they sounded almost artificial, and the bass was wimpy and inconsistent. I even switched cables and tips, hoping for an upgrade, but the improvements were minimal at best. To add insult to injury, noise isolation was only passable. Walking through a crowded street, I still heard conversations and traffic noise sneaking in. Comfort-wise, after about 40 minutes, I had to take them out because my ears started hurting. A solid hour-long walk or a binge-listening session. No chance. Before you start thinking I'm just being harsh, here's a quick joke to lighten the mood. Why did the earphone break up with the music player? Because it couldn't handle the sound of commitment. Okay, moving on, but seriously, sound commitment is key here. Now here's a big question to leave you hanging. Is it worth trying the suggested tripod cable upgrade? Anecdotally, some users swear by it, suggesting a noticeable sound improvement and better durability. But at this point, you're paying extra to fix issues the product should have solved out of the box. And for less than $50, that's a valid frustration. There's nothing wrong with investing a bit more upfront for a truly reliable and great-sounding earphone. Let's rehook with a surprising mini promise. Despite these issues, the KZ ZS10 Pro still has qualities that could appeal to certain users. If you love tinkering with audio gear and don't mind experimenting with cables and tips to customize your sound, this could be a fun little project for you. Plus, the aesthetic design and that flashy steel faceplate do provide bragging rights in your circle. But for most casual listeners and audiophiles looking for convenience and consistent quality, there are better options. Alright, time for a second joke. How do earphones flirt? They drop some sick beats, but sometimes they just get static. Okay, back to business. Considering alternatives is important here. At around the $50 mark, the market is crowded. Brands like Tin Hi-Fi, Moondrop, and even some entry-level Sony models offer better all-around comfort, more balanced sound, and longer cable durability. Some may cost a bit more but save you the hassle of returns, upgrades, or ear discomfort down the line. To sum up, here's the resolution. While the KZ ZS10 Pro's technical specs look impressive on paper, with self-customized balanced armatures, an extended high-frequency response, and a hybrid design, the real-world experience is mixed. Problems with fit, inconsistent bass, cable quality, and a harsh treble profile mean it's not the perfect buy for everyone, especially if you value hassle-free, comfortable listening straight out of the box. But I won't leave you hanging on a sour note. For a sub-$50 price point, the ZS10 Pro does have a loyal fanbase, and many find the soundstage enjoyable once they tweak cables and tips. If you are the type who enjoys digging into audio customization, this earphone offers a decent platform. Plus, it looks sleek and feels solid, which counts for something. So if you want to take a chance and are okay with some quirks, the ZS10 Pro is worth a try. Just keep your expectations realistic and don't expect perfection. Otherwise, looking into slightly higher-priced models might be your best bet to avoid headaches and ensure lasting comfort and sound quality. Here's a final chuckle. Why did the audiophile bring a ladder to the music store? To reach the high notes, just like the KZ ZS10 Pro tries to do, but sometimes falls short. If you like this honest review and want to grab the best price on Amazon, check the link in the description below. It might not be perfect, but hey, sometimes a little imperfection makes life interesting. Happy listening.